Hi everyone, and welcome to your fitness assessment. This is a big day. I'm going to get you to do this at day 0, week 5, once you've done 4 weeks, etc, etc. So every 4 weeks, it's good to stop, go through this process and reassess. So the first thing you need to do is go to your tools and download this fitness assessment form, because this is how you're going to track what it is that you're doing. Remember what I say, what gets measured gets done. So record it, be accurate and consistent. So the purpose of this video is to show you how you can go through each of the steps so that you're fully in control and you know exactly what to do. So I'm going to use Elizabeth as my model today so that I can show you all the different things that need to take place. And we're going to start off with doing a blood pressure. But before we do that, what I would like you to do is make sure that you consistently take photos. So every time you do your assessment, maybe before you get all warmed up and hot and sweaty, take some before photos so that you can see how you're progressing. So for men, I normally say wear some, well-fitted shorts or something like that so you can see as much skin as possible, no shirt. For ladies, like a crop top, some tight shorts or something so you can see as much flesh as possible, because it's really important to not only just look at your shape but to see what are the lines that you're seeing appearing on your skin, the lumps and bumps that may be disappearing. That's really powerful too, because remember, we don't just measure our progress by the number on the scales, because if you do, that's a losing game. There are many other things, as you will see, that you can measure your progress against, and that's really, really powerful. So let's get stuck into it. We're going to start with the blood pressure. So the very first thing we're going to do is blood pressure. Now, if you don't have access to a blood pressure machine, that's fine. Next time you're at your doctor, just ask them to take it for you. This one is just something that I use with my clients. It's a very economical thing if you do want to get in the habit of trying one, doing the test regularly yourself. I'm going to demonstrate on Elizabeth right now how to do it. So when we do this, you want to be sitting down to start with. You don't want to do it when you're all warmed up and hot and sweaty, because it's going to elevate your blood pressure. We want to get a normalized reading. So let's see what happens. All right, so we've got our result here. So Elizabeth's blood pressure has come out to 107/67, which is a fantastic result for her. It's a fantastic result for anyone. So a good healthy range is somewhere in the vicinity of 110/70 or 120/80 is considered about perfect. So right in the range there. So many people often don't understand what those numbers mean. So let's talk about that for a second. I want you to imagine, for instance, that this is an artery in your pumping blood to your heart. So what the high number measures is the pressure on the artery walls when the blood is pumping through. Okay, when it's pumping through like that. So what does it mean? The higher the number, more pressure. Okay, so that could be a bad thing. Now, the lower number is measures the same pressure, but it's when the heart's at rest. Okay, so it's a lower number. So if you think about those contexts, then it helps put in a bit of perspective. Now, the resting heart rate of 67 beats a minute, which is really solid as well. So generally speaking, lower your heart rate has an indication as to what your cardiovascular fitness is too. Not always, but most times. So we've got those numbers written down. Make sure you write down your numbers. And now we're going to move on to measurements. Yeah. All right, it's time to take some measurements. Now, the first thing that you need, this tool, a dressmaker's fabric tape measure, so that we can obviously wrap it around the body. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the bicep. So we'll get Elizabeth to hold her arm up like this. So you're going to be nice and relaxed at this point. We're just going to make sure that we can see the whole bicep. So this is the bicep here. We want to go into the center of the muscle. Okay. And then when I've got it firm, I don't have it super tight like that. So you can see there's a line here. We don't want it tight like that. We just want it firm so it's not going to slip. And then what I'm going to ask her to do is flex this, which means tighten it as tight as you can. Okay. Nice work. So I'm going to write down each measurement as we take it, okay? Right, I'm going to do the other side. This one's a little bit bigger. I can see visually it's a little bit bigger. Oh, yes. All right, and flex. Yeah, and good job. All right, so the next one is going to be the chest. So what we do is arms up, and I always ask the person to find about the center of their chest, so which is about nipple line on most people. Then pop your arms down. Obviously, it's going to be much easier if you have somebody else do these measurements for you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask Elizabeth to take you're right?
Yeah.
Take a big breath in and exhale all the air. Now, once all the air is exhaled, that's where we take the measurement, which is right there. All right, the next one is the waist, which is, can you just lift up your shirt for a moment? So, which is normally around here. It's not exactly the belly button. It's going to be about where you wear your pants. With this one, I ask people to breathe in, suck your tummy in as tight as you can. And you can put your shirt down if you want, and go. Yep, and good. All right, so I've got that number. Now, people often ask me, why do I take that measurement when people suck it in? Well, here's the secret. The second time that I measure people, it doesn't matter what I tell them to do, they always suck their tummy in. So let's get an accurate reading. So if you suck it in to start with and then continue to suck it in, you'll always get an accurate measurement that's consistent. Well done. All right, so now we're going to do the hips. So person has their feet together, and what we're going to do, wrap the tape measure around. And this one basically goes in the center of the person's butt. And there's no flexing or tensing or anything here. You're just nice and relaxed and making sure that the tape measure is nice and straight. And then we get the measurement there. All right, we're now going to measure the thigh. So we measure the upper thigh. So the way that we do that is I get the person to curl your fingers up and have your thumb pointing down, because we use the bottom of the thumb as the measurer. So just make sure you stand nice and straight, feet slightly apart, and then same thing, you don't want to be really tight with the tape measure, but under the thumb, making sure that it's nice and straight, no flexing or anything, and then it's just right there. And then what I do is get the person to spin around the other way around. Same thing. We'll just replicate that. You'll often find that there is one side bigger than the other. And done. All right, so now we're going to do calf muscle. So again, we're looking for the center of the calf muscle. And no flexing or anything, just nice and still. Weight evenly distributed on both sides. All right, I've got that measurement. Spin around to the other side. Again, it's not unusual to get a discrepancy here in the calf measurement either, which we do have a slight ½ centimetre here. And that is done as well. All right, so before we start to get into the strength elements, what we're going to do is we're just going to weigh Elizabeth. We've got all the measurements done. Now it's time to go to the scales and step on. All right, so the next phase is we've done all the measurements, we've done the weigh. Right now you can see I've got Elizabeth warming up. You want to warm up for about 3 to 5 minutes. Make sure that you're nice and warm, get the blood circulating through your body before we move into this next phase, which is going to be the strength testing. So make sure you're warmed up nicely and hydrated well. You don't want to have a big meal in your tummy, maybe a light snack, something like that. You don't want to feel too heavy, okay? 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll get into the strength testing. We're now going to do the strength testing, and we've got a bunch of things that we're going to do. So there's a few tools that you need. First one is obviously your assessment sheet, a pen, and you need a timer, which I'm just going to use the phone for this, because this first one, which is sit-ups, it goes for a minute. Now, all of the tests apart from one is as many repetitions as you can get out with good form in 1 minute. Now, the idea of this is you need to listen to your body, okay? If you start to feel pain through your chest, or if you're feeling a little bit unwell, you need to stop immediately, okay? So I'm going to walk you through the first one with Elizabeth here as to how we would do the sit-ups. So we don't do a full sit-up for the purpose of this test. What we do is get Elizabeth to put her hands on her thighs, and they're going to stay there the whole time. Now, ideally, if you can come up to, say, the middle of your kneecap, which is about there, and then go all the way back down, that's one of them. Now, what you can do, so Elizabeth's just walking through here, that might be as fast as you can go. Now, only come up to about here. If that's as far as you can get, and you can't get all the way up, that's fine. Just make a note that, you couldn't make it all the way up. Then next time you do it, you'll probably be able to come up a little bit further. So, the idea is, do this as fast as you can manage. So we'll just show you a few different tempos, so just do it as fast as you can. So what's important to note is that the shoulders have to go down each time. So let's just stop for a second. So I don't want you to do this. So come up and just do like there and just come down a bit and back up. So I don't want you to get stuck into that. You've got to go all the way back down, okay? Now, say for instance, that's a good tempo for you, then great. You might be able to do it slower, faster. It really just comes down to what you're capable of. All right, well done. The next one is power jacks. So this one's really a test of your leg strength, your cardiovascular system. I'm going to walk you through it slowly if you haven't already looked at the exercise videos, but basically hands together and feet together. And what you do is you jump out, you squat down, and you touch your ankles or your calves if you can get down that far, and then you come back to this position, okay? So down like that and back up. Now, if you're not able to do them at full pace, so full pace for me would be like this. Now, if you're not able to do that and you can't jump because of your knees, you can step these out. So what you would do is you would start here, step to the side, come down, touch, come back, and then I would go over to the other side. So like this. Now, if you can't bend that far, just come down to your kneecaps, down like that, and just do it as fast as you can. Remember, this is where you start right here, and we measure your progress against this. All right, well done. So we're now up to a plank. So your plank is a measure of your core strength. So what we're going to do, there's a few variations here. You can do them on your toes if you're capable, otherwise you can do them on your knees. So I'm going to get Elizabeth to show you on your knees first of all. So what you want to make sure of is that your tummy is up, that you don't, let's just do it incorrectly for a minute, just sag right down. So you don't want to be like that, okay? That's bad for your back. So engage the core. So this should be tight in here, and nice straight line between here and the knees, okay? All right, now if we then went up into your toes, so we want to be nice and straight here, nice and aligned, and then focus on your breathing, okay? You don't hold your breath through this. You focus on your breathing, making sure that your elbows are nice and straight to the ground. And for this one, it's for as long as you can hold it. So if that's for 10, 15, 20 seconds, and that's where you are right now, then that's great, you can relax. If you can go for 2, 3 minutes, then fantastic. It's just wherever you are right now. So make sure you've got your stopwatch and ready to go. All right, well, if you're doing this assessment live as you're watching this, then well done. Keep up the great work. Now we're up to push-ups. This one's, again, a maximum of how many you can do in 1 minute. So there's a few different variations of this, just like there was with the plank. Now, for most of you watching this, maybe you can't do any push-ups on your toes right now, so we're going to get you to do them on your knees. So if you go up onto your knees for me. So very similar to like you were doing your plank, except you're on your arms this time. Keep the tummy engaged so you don't slouch in your back, and go down as deep as you can manage, okay? So Elizabeth's getting quite deep there, but just go down about halfway. So stop there. Now if that's come back up. If that's as far as you can go right now, just do a few more, then that's what your limit is. Just make a note that you didn't get down as far as, or you've only got down, this far, whatever it is, and just make a note of it. All right, so then, obviously if you're going to do it on your toes, let's just try a couple on the toes. So making sure that you're nice and straight here, straight through here, down you go. That's it, that's deep enough. And up there like that, just do one more. That's it. Good, all right, rest. Now, the idea with all of these is as many as you can do in 1 minute. Now, let's just say that Elizabeth has done 40 and she's feeling a bit tired, so she's having a rest now. The time is still going, but she's having a rest. Then when she's ready, she can do a few more. So you do the same thing. Don't stop the watch until the minute finishes, but you just stop, rest, breathe as you need to. If you're feeling anything that hurts unusually, you're getting unusual chest pains or whatever, you're feeling sick, you need to stop. All right, well done. All right, so this next one is to do with your leg strength. So we use a bench here. If you don't have a bench, you can use a chair or something like that. Just make sure you use a solid chair, and it's always the same chair. So I'll just get Elizabeth to sit down. So this is used for the guide for the depth of the squat. So we want your feet out a little bit from whatever it is that you're squatting on. So just stand up for me. All right, so then I'm going to get Elizabeth to do this in sort of slow motion. So squat down just until you touch, okay, and then go back up. I don't want you to go down and bounce off it. Just go down, touch, and come back up. So as we go down, just go down and pause that for me. So just hold that there. If you look at the nice straight lines between here and here, she's got a nice angle on her back. Everything's in position. You can come back up to the start. So with this one, you can go either as fast, so go as fast as you can do it, or as slow, so slow it right down. If that's all you can manage, then that's completely fine as well. All right, so have fun with this one. Set your timer and off you go. Okay, so now we're going to assess the strength of the back of the arm. This is the triceps, okay? People call them the granny wings or tuck up arms, that sort of stuff. Now, we need a bench or a chair again for this one. The easiest way to sit yourself up on this one is to sit down, put your hands up beside your hips, and then what you're going to do is you come out, and so you're now off the bench. Now, the straighter you have your legs, put your legs completely straight. That's the hardest position, okay? So we're not going to demonstrate in that one, but just bring your feet back in. So the closer you bring your feet in, the easier it becomes. You're taking off more load. So what I'm going to get Elizabeth to do, now she's got a bit of a sore shoulder, so this is a perfect example for you. If you can't get down as deep to 90 degrees, then don't. Just get down, so go down as far as you can before it starts to hurt. Okay, and up to there, okay? So then this might be as fast as you can do them when you first need to stop. Or you might be able to go much faster. You might be going down, up, down, up, down, up. Whatever you can handle. Again, 60 seconds, see how many you can get out. Go for it. All right, the next one is burpees. Now, burpees can be horrific for you. They can be really, really hard. We're going to show you a couple of variations to them. Actually, I'm going to show you 3 variations. If you have poor knees or you feel like you're carrying too much weight that this is really awkward for you, then this would be the easiest one for you to do, which is just like a squat jump. So you squat down, touch the ground, and just reach like that. If you can't jump, then just do that. So reach down, touch, put your hand up in the air, down, touch, okay? If that's even too hard and you can't get down that far, get down, just reach down as far as you can, maybe put a pile of books or something there that you know what the height is, touch it and back up. It's about finding your limits right now. Now let's just say you're going to progress from there. The next thing to do will be an actual squat jump. So squat down with a little jump, okay, like that. Every now and then you can swap hands if you want, like that. So that would be the next step. So then the progression from there is the burpee. Now you can see I've got a bench here. I would use a chair or something like that. Put the chair up against the wall or make sure you're going to use an object that's not going to move. So what we would do is I'll show you in slow motion. Basically, you put your hands on the bench, you would kick your feet back like that, you'd come back in, then you jump up like that. So in fast motion, it looks like this. Out, in, jump, out, in, jump. Now, if that's too hard but you want to progress from a squat jump, what you could do, step it out, step it in, do that. That's the next progression. Then from there, the next burpee, I'm going to get Elizabeth to show us what that looks like. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to show you in slow motion. So hands on the floor, then you would jump back, then you would jump in, and then you would jump up. That's it. Just show us 2 in fast motion. That's it. Out, in, and jump. All right. So if you can manage that, then terrific. That's the way to do it. Now you may have seen that there are some burpees where you do that when you're in the down position. You do a push up and then you come back in. We're not doing the push up as part of this test because we've already assessed the push up. So have some fun with this one. Find out where you are in terms of whether you're doing a squat jump, etc. And if you're starting there, just look to progress in 4 weeks. All right, now, last abdominal exercise. So this one works the oblique muscles, these ones on the side here. And this one is called heel touches. So I'm going to get Elizabeth to demonstrate in slow motion what they look like. We're just going to tap the outside of the heel. So tap that side, that side, that side, that side, okay? You just keep going, so that's, keep going, 1, 2, 3, 4. So each tap is 1. You need to keep count here, okay? As many as you can do in 1 minute. The numbers will be quite high, so have some fun with it. Keep your shoulders off the ground as you're doing it, so you're not just rubbing your back along the ground. My tip is that you look at the roof rather than your knees so that you don't put so much strain on your neck. Have some fun. See how many you get. All right, you're doing a great job. That is the strength component done of the fitness test. Now it's up to the cardio test. Now this one can be really challenging. If you push yourself really hard, you can push yourself in what I like to call the spew zone, where you feel like, oh man, I can't complete it. You feel dizzy, lightheaded. If you push too hard, like the red zone. So you've got to really measure your effort here. So if you have a look at your sheet, you'll see that we're doing 250 climbers. We're doing 15 sit-ups. We're doing 25 squat jumps, 25 push-ups, 15 sit-ups, 25 squat jumps, 250 climbers. So basically we're climbing the hill and then we're coming back down again. The idea is you need a stopwatch, record this time as fast as you can do all of those exercises. If it means that you have to stop and you can't finish it, just make a note of the time that it is where you've stopped, and next time you do it in 4 weeks' time, you don't have to redo it like tomorrow or whatever. So that's where you've stopped, progress and see where you are in 4 weeks' time. So we're just going to walk through, we're not going to do the whole test, but we're going to just walk through what each of the different exercises are with Elizabeth. So we set the time, so climbers. So we're aiming for 250 climbers. So off you go. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each step that you take is 1. So just keep a count, set the timer, put it in front of you, and off you go. So that'll do for those. The next one is sit-ups. So we're going to flip over into your sit-ups. So just like we did before, we do those types of sit-ups. So hands on the thighs, up to the top. That's 1, 2, 3, and you keep going till you get to 15. Then once you've done those, we're going to go into squat jumps. So hop up, take a few deep breaths, squat jumps, 25 of those. That's it. Nice work. Then once let's say that's 25. Once you've done your 25, down into your push-up position. And again, let's do them on your knees. Let's say you're doing a modified one, and just do these as fast as you can. And then back onto your back, and then it's back to the sit-ups again. Another 15 sit-ups. We're bringing it back home, so we're back to our squat jump. So come back onto your feet. Just take your time getting up because your head can get a bit of a spin. So doing squat jumps again. So we're doing a total of 25 of those. Let's get back into the climbers to bring it home. 250. Just as long as it takes. So really important to make sure you concentrate on your breathing here. Breathing nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. It helps lower the heart rate. Grab a sip of water if you need to as you're going through. Have that nearby. And done. Then once you've done that, record your number. And then what I'd like you to do is just walk around. Get the heart rate down. And making sure that you're nice and relaxed. And if you're feeling unwell at any stage, you need to stop and just record the time when you've stopped so that we can check your progress in the future. So well done. All right, for the last test, this is a flexibility test. So really we're checking the flexibility of the hamstrings underneath the back of the legs there. So for this one, I recommend that you use like a hardware type tape measure, so one that's stiff like this, you can use your cloth one, but I just find this one's easier. So what you're going to do is I'm going to set this to about 40 centimetres. I know Elizabeth's not super flexible, but what we're going to do is find 23 centimetres on the tape measure, and we're going to just separate your feet a little bit, and we're going to place it right where her heels are. That's where 23 centimetres is. I know it's an unusual number, but this is what we use for working out where the optimal point is for stretching, so that we can measure it against tables and so forth. So then what I'm going to get Elizabeth to do is put her fingertips on top of each other so that they're nice and level here. Now what I'm going to get her to do is to reach forward as far as she can. She's going to take a big breath in, and as she exhales, as she breathes out, she's going to reach along the tape measure as far as she can manage. All right, so breathe in and stretch and rest. Now, you can see that there's an issue here because what you're doing is, how is she going to be able to read that? So you need another person to be able to read it for you. And also, she's reaching above the tape measure. So what do? Well, the person that you're working with can hold it here, or maybe you could rest it on some books or something like that. So just reach forward again. So you can see that she can reach along there. We can see that, okay, here's the measure. So that's 13 centimeters. So that's how you do it. You do it 3 times. You can either take the best of the 3, an average of the 3, whichever you prefer. And I generally take the last one because that's where you're warmed up the most. And then that completes your fitness assessment. Well done. Store the results somewhere, maybe take a photo of it, stick it on your phone in case you lose your sheet, and measure that progress in 4 weeks' time. Well done.
Thanks.